My name is Paul Henderson, former military logistics specialist with an MBA, though my daughter saw me as just a maintenance worker who took afternoon naps. My daughter told her wealthy friends, "I wish I'd gotten my kidney from someone who matters," after I gave her mine and bought her $2. Million house. I pulled out my phone and called my realtor. The words hit me like a sledgehammer to the chest. I stood there in Abigail's pristine kitchen, surrounded by her friends in their designer clothes. I watched my daughter's face flush with embarrassment. Not embarrassment about what she'd said, but embarrassment that I was there to hear it. Margaret Ashford, Trevor's mother, and one of the most influential women in Los Angeles society, stared at Abigail with undisguised horror. The entire group had gone silent, champagne glasses frozen halfway to their lips. These were the people Abigail desperately wanted to impress, the social circle she'd built her entire identity around, and she just revealed her true character in front of all of them. But here's what Abigail didn't know about me, what none of them knew. While she saw a maintenance worker who took afternoon naps, I actually had resources she couldn't imagine. My reduced capacity job still paid $85,000 annually. But what she didn't know was that I'd invested every penny I didn't spend on her lifestyle. 23 years of careful investments, compound interest, and strategic planning had built me a portfolio worth $1 a million. More importantly, I wasn't just some blue-collar worker stumbling through life. I was Paul Henderson, former military logistics specialist, with an MBA I'd earned through night school before my health declined. My afternoon naps happened because I spent my mornings consulting for 3 different construction firms on project management. My network included real estate attorneys, investment advisors, and business owners who respected my strategic mind. Tom Bradley wasn't just my realtor, he was my former Army buddy who'd built the largest commercial real estate firm in West LA. When I called him from that party, in front of everyone, I wasn't making an emotional decision. I was executing a plan I'd been considering for months. "Tom, it's Paul. Yeah, I'm at the house now. Remember what we discussed? Move forward with everything tonight." I watched Abigail's face drain of color as the implications hit her. She'd been living in my house for 6 years, playing the role of successful independent woman, never realizing that I owned everything. The deed, the mortgage, the insurance policies, all in my name. She wasn't a tenant. She wasn't even a renter. She was a guest who had just worn out her welcome in the most spectacular way possible. Margaret Ashford stepped closer, her voice careful and measured. "Mr. Henderson, surely this is something that can be resolved privately?" I smiled at her, the kind of calm smile I'd perfected during 23 years of handling crisis situations. "Margaret, I've been trying to resolve this privately for 2 years. Tonight, Abigail made it clear that privacy isn't what she wants." The numbers were stark, and I'd run them countless times over the past months. Monthly mortgage payment, $3,847. Property taxes, $2,100 quarterly. Insurance, $4,000 annually. Utilities averaging $320 monthly, because Abigail kept the temperature at exactly 72 degrees year-round. Total annual cost, $68,000. My contribution to her lifestyle over 6 years, $408,000, plus the original $2. Million purchase price. Add the $40,000 in medical bills I'd paid out of pocket for her kidney transplant. We were looking at nearly $3 million invested in a daughter who wished someone else had saved her life. Trevor, her boyfriend, was staring at her with the kind of dawning horror that comes when you realize you don't know someone at all. "Abigail, you told me your father was just a maintenance worker with health problems." "He is," Abigail said defensively, but her voice cracked. "Who bought you a $2 more million house?" Margaret said quietly. "And gave you a kidney," added Trevor's father. "And whose mortgage payments have been funding your lifestyle for 6 years," I continued. My phone rang, Tom Bradley, right on schedule. "Paul, I just got off the phone with the Henderson Group. They've been watching this property for months. Cash offer, $2.75 million, 14-day close. Do you want me to draw up papers?" I looked directly at Abigail. Her perfect party makeup was starting to smudge, her designer dress suddenly looking like a costume. "Make it 2 weeks, Tom." "Dad, no." Her voice cracked completely. 2 weeks? Tom's voice carried surprise. Paul, that's aggressive. Abigail just informed me that she wishes she'd gotten her kidney from someone who matters. Someone who matters should be able to afford his own housing, don't you think? Jesus, Paul, she really said that? In front of 12 witnesses, 2 weeks it is. I'll call you tomorrow to finalize everything. I hung up and looked around the room. The party was dissolving around us. Guests were making polite excuses and heading for the door. The catering staff looked uncertain about whether to keep serving drinks. The jazz quartet had stopped playing. But I wasn't done. This wasn't just about selling the house. This was about showing Abigail exactly what she was losing and why. Ladies and gentlemen, I said to the remaining crowd, I apologize for disrupting your evening, but I thought you should know that this beautiful house will be changing hands very soon. If you're interested in the neighborhood, now might be a good time to look around. Trevor was backing away from Abigail, his face a mixture of disgust and disappointment. You know what, Abigail? My father always taught me that character is how you treat the people who gave you everything when you think nobody's watching. Well, everyone's watching now. He walked away. His parents followed without a word. Abigail turned back to me, desperation replacing the calculated coldness I'd seen earlier. Dad, please, you're destroying my life. No, Abigail, I'm stopping the destruction of mine. She grabbed my arm. Dad, I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I said. I was just embarrassed and I said stupid things. You were embarrassed by me. Yes, I was, but that doesn't mean what, Abigail? That you don't respect me? That you don't value what I've done for you? That you see me as an inconvenience rather than your father? She was quiet. Abigail, do you know what the monthly payment on this house is? I know it's expensive. No, $3,847 plus taxes, insurance, utilities. Call it $5,000 a month. She stared at me. For 6 years, Abigail, $360,000 plus the $2. Million purchase price, plus the $40,000 in medical bills I paid out of pocket for your transplant. That's nearly $3 million I've spent on you and your new life. And tonight, you told a room full of people that you wish you'd gotten your kidney from someone who matters. Abigail was sobbing now, her perfect party makeup ruined. Someone who matters just decided you can find your own housing. I walked toward the door, then paused. The new owners take possession January 15th. That gives you 30 days to figure out where you're going to live on $85,000 a year. Dad, where am I supposed to go? I looked back at her one last time. Abigail, that's the first decision you'll make as an independent adult who actually has to pay for her own choices. I can't afford anything in this area on my salary. Then don't live in this area. But my job, my life. Your job pays $85,000 a year. Your life costs $300,000. The math never worked, Abigail. You just never had to face it before. The next morning, I was sitting in Tom Bradley's office by 10 a.m., reviewing contracts. Sale price, $2,750,000. Earnest money, $275,000. Non-refundable after 3 days. Close date, December 29th. Exactly 2 weeks. Tom spread the paperwork across his conference table. Paul, I have to ask one more time. Are you absolutely sure about this? Once we sign these papers and they put down earnest money, there's no going back. There was no going back the moment Abigail said she wished she'd gotten her kidney from someone who matters. Damn, Paul, I still can't believe she said that. She meant it, Tom. That's what you need to understand. Abigail didn't have a moment of poor judgment. She revealed who she really is. My phone had been ringing all morning, Abigail calling back immediately every time I let it go to voicemail. By the time I walked into Tom's office, she'd called 7 times. After we signed the contracts, I finally answered. Dad, please, we need to talk. We talked last night, Abigail. You were very clear about your feelings. I was upset. I said things I didn't mean. Which things didn't you mean? That you were embarrassed by me? That you wish someone else had given you a kidney? That I don't matter? She was crying. All of it. I was just the pressure of the party, trying to impress Trevor's family. Abigail, there will always be pressure. There will always be someone to impress. The question is whether you throw your family under the bus to do it. Dad, You can't sell the house. This is my home. It was never your home, Abigail. It was my gift to you, and you made it clear that gifts from me are unwelcome. That's not what I said. You said you wish the kidney came from someone who matters. I was angry. No, Abigail, you were honest, maybe for the first time in years. I could hear her breathing, trying to collect herself. Dad, if you sell the house, I'll have nowhere to go. You'll figure it out. You're a smart, successful woman with a college degree and a good job. I can't afford rent in this area on my salary. Then don't live in this area. But my social life, my relationship with Trevor. Abigail, listen to yourself. You're more worried about your social status than your relationship with your father. The consequences came faster than even I had expected. Within 48 hours of the party, word had spread through Abigail's entire social circle. Los Angeles high society is surprisingly small. The story of Abigail's public humiliation was too juicy not to share. Margaret Ashford, it turned out, wasn't just Trevor's mother. She was also on the board of Sterling Luxury Brands, Abigail's employer. More importantly, she was someone who valued family loyalty above almost everything else. Abigail called me on December 18th, 3 days after the party. Her voice was hollow. Dad, I got called into HR today. I was packing boxes in my apartment, getting ready to move somewhere nicer with the proceeds from the house sale. What happened? Margaret told her friend Patricia about what happened at the party. Patricia sits on our executive committee, and they're questioning my character. They want to know how someone could treat their father the way I treated you. Sterling Luxury Brands had built their reputation on family values and authentic relationships. Having an employee who publicly humiliated the father who'd given her a kidney didn't align with their brand message. What did you tell them? I tried to explain that it was a misunderstanding, that you were being dramatic. I was being dramatic. Yes, you made this huge scene in front of all those people. Abigail, I made one phone call to my real estate agent and told the truth about who owned the house. Everything else was you. She was quiet. What else is happening, Abigail? Trevor broke up with me. I'd expected that. Trevor came from the kind of family that took care of their own. Watching Abigail discard the man who'd sacrificed everything for her was probably more disturbing to him than anything else she could have done. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you? Because it feels like you wanted this to happen. Abigail, I wanted you to understand that actions have consequences. This is what consequences look like. My whole life is falling apart. Your fake life is falling apart. Maybe now you can build a real one. By December 22nd, the story had reached the local news. A reporter had somehow gotten wind of the Christmas party organ donor incident and wanted to interview both of us. Abigail called, panicked. Dad, there are reporters calling me. They want to do a story about us. What kind of story? About family values and gratitude. Dad, this is going to ruin me professionally. Only if you let it. What do you mean? You have a choice, Abigail. You can keep playing the victim, or you can take responsibility and try to make things right. How do I make this right? You've already sold the house. The house was never the point, Abigail. The house was just a symptom. A symptom of what? Of you forgetting that the people who love you aren't disposable. On December 24th, Christmas Eve, Abigail showed up at my apartment. I was surprised she remembered where I lived. She hadn't visited in over a year. She looked terrible. Her hair was unwashed, her clothes wrinkled. The polished, sophisticated woman from the party was gone. Dad, can I come in? I stepped aside and led her into my small living room. I lost my job. I'd been expecting this too. I'm sorry, Abigail. They said I violated their core values policy, bringing disrepute to the company brand through personal conduct unbecoming. What are you going to do? I don't know. She sat heavily on my old couch. My rent is $4,000 a month. I had enough savings for maybe 2 months, but without references from Sterling. She started crying. Dad, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything I said, everything I did. You were right. I was ungrateful and selfish, and I took everything you did for granted. I sat down across from her. Abigail, are you sorry because you finally understand what you did wrong? Or are you sorry because you're facing consequences? She looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. Does it matter? It's the only thing that matters. She was quiet for a long time. I think both. I think I've been sorry for a while, but I was too proud to admit it. And now that everything's falling apart, I can't pretend anymore. Pretend what? That I did any of this myself, that I earned this life, that I deserve to be embarrassed by the person who made it all possible. I felt something shift in my chest. Not forgiveness exactly, but recognition. This was the first honest thing Abigail had said to me in years. Abigail, do you remember what you said about wishing you'd gotten your kidney from someone who matters? She closed her eyes. I remember. Do you still feel that way? Dad, I felt that way for about 30 seconds. I was angry and embarrassed, and I wanted to hurt you the way I felt like you were hurting me. How was I hurting you? By making me face the truth, by refusing to let me keep pretending I was this self-made success story. We sat in silence for a while. Abigail, the house closes in 5 days. That's not changing. I know, but that doesn't mean we can't. Our relationship. She looked up hopefully. Really, Abigail? I didn't sell that house to punish you. I sold it to save both of us. You were turning into someone I didn't recognize, and I was turning into someone who enabled that transformation. What happens now? Now, you learn to live within your means. You find a job that values your actual skills rather than your fake lifestyle. You remember what it feels like to earn something instead of inheriting it. And we'll see. Trust is earned back slowly, Abigail, one honest conversation at a time. She nodded, still crying, but somehow looking more like the daughter I remembered. Dad, thank you. For the kidney, for the house, for everything. I should have said that years ago. It was a start. 6 months later, I was living in a modest 2-bedroom condo in Manhattan Beach, walking distance from the ocean. The proceeds from the house sale had bought me the place outright, plus enough left over for a comfortable retirement. My kidney function had stabilized at 25%. Not great, but manageable with proper care and regular rest. For the first time in years, I wasn't constantly exhausted. Abigail was living in a 1-bedroom apartment in Culver City, paying $1,800 a month, exactly what someone making her salary should be paying for housing. She'd found work at a smaller marketing firm, making less money, but working for people who cared more about results than connections. We had dinner together every other Sunday, nothing fancy, usually takeout Chinese or pizza, eating at my small dining table overlooking the beach. Dad, she said one evening, unpacking pad thai and green curry, I need to tell you something. What's that? I've been thinking about Trevor a lot lately. Not missing him exactly, but thinking about why that relationship fell apart so fast. And I think he never actually knew me, the real me. He only knew the version I created, the successful, independent woman who'd earned her beautiful life through hard work and good choices. And when he found out that wasn't true, he felt betrayed, not just by the lies, but by the fact that I was willing to throw away my relationship with you to maintain those lies. What did that teach you? That you can't build real relationships on fake foundations. That authenticity isn't just a marketing buzzword. It's actually the only way to connect with people who matter. We ate in comfortable silence for a while, watching the sunset paint the ocean orange and pink. Dad, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you ever regret it, selling the house? I considered the question. Abigail, I regret that it was necessary. I regret that you and I had to go through that pain to get to where we are now. But do I regret the decision itself? No. Even though it basically destroyed my life? It destroyed a life that was destroying you. There's a difference. She nodded thoughtfully. Dad, can I tell you what I've learned from all this? Please. Love without boundaries isn't love. It's enabling. For years, I thought your sacrifices meant I was entitled to whatever I wanted. But what I didn't understand is that real love sometimes means letting people face the consequences of their choices. You're stronger now, Abigail, more honest, more resilient. 6 months ago, you would have crumbled under the pressure of finding a new job, a new apartment, a new identity. But you didn't crumble. You adapted. It was terrifying. Most growth is. As she got ready to leave that evening, Abigail hugged me tightly. Thank you, Dad, for everything. but especially for loving me enough to let me fall. Thank you for climbing back up. After she left, I sat on my small balcony, listening to the ocean and thinking about second chances. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is the opportunity to discover who they really are when everything else is stripped away. Abigail had discovered she was stronger than either of us had imagined, and I had learned that sometimes loving someone means being willing to lose them completely in order to save them from themselves.